Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Before we start today, I just want to make it really clear. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice, and always do your own research before you make an investment decision. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Tesla stock and growth. We're going to be talking about what Tesla stock can do in the next 5 years, 2030, and what Tesla stock can do in the next 10 years, 2035. Okay, so Tesla in 2030, this is a huge prediction, but Tesla in 2030 will be a monopoly. Okay, so really quick, I'm gonna shout out Tom Nash. I'm gonna leave the link to his video in the description. A lot of what I'm gonna say today is coming from his video, so I'm leaving a link of his video in the description for you guys to look at. He goes over all the same stuff that I'm about to go over today too. So everything that I'm about to say right now is hypothetical numbers, imaginary numbers. They're not real. They're just predictions, estimates of future growth. Okay, cool. So 2030 Tesla will be a monopoly. What is a monopoly? A monopoly, the definition of a monopoly is the exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. Okay, so what does this do? What does this do? If Tesla's a monopoly, what does this do? This gives Tesla the power to set prices and eliminate competition because there are no viable alternatives for consumers. Okay, so that's huge. That is really, really big. Okay, so Tesla can actually raise prices without losing customers. Tesla will own the market share pretty much, is what he's saying. These are really, really crazy predictions, and they could easily come true. You know, Tesla's doing so much right now to build their fleet, to build their humanoid robots, to develop energy, to develop autonomous driving, FSD, and robotaxi. So let's go over some numbers here really quick. I want to go over a quick crazy prediction that he has. Okay, $500 billion of revenue by 2030 per year. $500 billion. So where's that money coming from? So automotive, 220 billion revenue with services in that. Robotics, 2 million robots deployed within Earth, 30 billion in revenue from just robotics alone. 2 million vehicle fleet, 50K miles per vehicle, $120 billion of revenue. And 500 gigawatts deployed, 125 billion in just energy alone. So this is so much growth for the next 5 years. It will reflect back into the stock price. So a conservative 5-year prediction is $1,788 for 2030. And that's conservative. That is what we're at today. We're at 450 around there today. So by 2030, 1,700 sounds pretty reasonable to me due to inflation, due to the Fed cutting rates, possibly, maybe not. You never know. Okay, so let's just go for a middle ground here. Let's go for a 2030 5-year middle ground. $3,271 price prediction for Tesla stock, for one share of Tesla stock. And then an optimistic 5-year, $4,754, which is 600% gain on where we're at today. So what I want to say is pretty much Tesla, what Tom Nash is predicting is Tesla will be the next Palantir, the next NVIDIA. Its PE ratio is already in the hundreds, but revenue growth, a stock will follow revenue growth. So if Tesla is trading at the prediction that this guy's saying $500 billion revenue by 2030 per year, then it will be a $2,000 stock. It follows in the long term. Short term, there's always going to be volatility. Trump's always going to say something crazy. There's going to be ups, downs. Elon says crazy shit. Like, that shit just happens. It is what it is. But long term, stock price follows revenue growth in a good company. So if Tesla does figure out a way to become a monopoly, they will own the majority of the market share. And I know Google is developing Waymo very well. They're doing such a great job with Waymo. Dude, I've ridden in Waymos. They're smooth. They do their job. But Tesla is just on a different level of just innovating, energy, humanoid robotics, autonomous driving, FSD, robotaxi. So many. They have so much in just one company that they're practically being an Amazon of the future too. Like they're Amazoning, they're Teslaing. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm trying to explain. So that one was for Ryan Hunvin. Shout out Ryan Hunvin for leaving that comment on that video. I really appreciate you. Those were the numbers for 2035 numbers. 2035 is 10 years from now, so it's impossible to predict what happens in 10 years. We have no idea. It's hard to, but we can give it a guess. We can give it a go. So 2035 revenue estimate Tesla. This is gonna sound like a crazy number. $2.5 trillion per year. $2.5 trillion per year in revenue for Tesla. So if they have $2.5 trillion per year in revenue, you will see a base case Tesla stock price of $5,600 per share, $5,600 per share of Tesla stock. Now, if you want to go more conservative, 3,750 is what Tom Nash has, and then for super bullish, super just out of this world, $7,900 per share in 2035. And the value of the dollar is always decreasing, so as time goes on, theoretically, the price of a stock should go up because the value of the dollar is decreasing. That's why we've been seeing a crazy run on silver, a crazy run on gold. These metals are in demand. Silver is in demand for AI, extremely. Gold is a hedge against inflation. Inflation is rapid. So when we're talking Tesla, we're talking about an opportunity that you have to capitalize on, at least a little bit of your portfolio. I know Tom Nash said he has 20% of his portfolio in Tesla. I personally have around 3% of my portfolio in Tesla, nothing crazy, probably like a little more, 4% in Tesla, just because I like to stay diversified, I like ETFs. But yeah, I see so much potential growth with this company. You know, they really know what they're doing. Short term, so anything can happen, volatility, exactly. But long term is where the real growth is, and this is why people are saying this is the next Palantir, Nvidia. But like, how can Tesla become the next Palantir, Nvidia if it already has $1 trillion market cap? That's a great question. This is how 2035 2.5 trillion per year in revenue. That is how they become the next. Now, is that likely? I can't tell you. I really can't. But what I can tell you is that they are innovating. They're the top innovator within the world today. That's what they want to do. They want to build for the future. That's what they're doing with SpaceX. SpaceX is going to IPO either later this year or early 2027. It's going to happen. Like, they're innovating so fast. They're building so many robots, and they're not slowing down whatsoever. They're not waiting for anyone. They're preparing for the future, and the future is now and here. So if you want to capitalize and you want to make money, that's what you got to do. You got to allocate a little bit of your portfolio to a little bit of riskier place. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a college guy in his room. So more on this channel, I want to talk about my investments because I'm not here to brag. I'm just here to tell you what I'm doing with my money. I just want to be transparent about what I'm doing with my money so you can figure out what you want to do with your money. That's the name of the game, okay? So pretty much, I just want everyone who follows my channel to succeed and make money. That's my ultimate goal, and why would I not talk about all the research that I'm doing, all the information that I'm gathering to you guys? You guys are my people. We're a community now, so that's great. What else? I was gonna touch up on videos. I do plan on posting videos every single day because why not, dude? Post as much as possible. You know, I got a lot of information to share. So much information. So I do plan on posting videos every day. Some of them will be 10 minutes, some of them will be longer, 20, 30. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day, okay? Oh, let's talk about prices from my last video. My two first stocks that I talked about in my last video, Amazon and AMD. Those are the number one and number two stocks that I talked about in my last video. Those stocks today are both up 2%, so that's great. That's great news. They're going strong. Google was down today, no big deal. Down barely, not even 1%, totally fine. Qs were up today, Zeta was up today, Nike's down, Meta was up huge today, Nvidia I believe was up today. So, you know, it's great to see like these companies, you know, they're doing well and they're showing it within their stock. You know, AMD's been on a crazy run. I talked a lot about Amazon in the last video and what they're doing. So if you missed out on that, go check that out. Thank you, Tom Nash, for that video. I'm gonna leave it in the link below. Like I said, that goes over all the stuff I covered on Tesla. Tesla, will it be a $7,900 stock in 2035? No one knows, but you can run your projections, you can look at revenue growth, you can look at the balance sheet, you can look at the income statement. There's things you can do. The income statement is a mess right now, but they will figure it out. They will start just doubling their revenue year by year, and they're innovating for the future. So that's great. What else was I gonna talk about? Oh, a couple of stocks that I'm looking at. I don't have them in my portfolio right now, but I am looking at them because they are extremely, they're just attractive value prices right now. They're just bargains. So Adobe is one of them. It's a bargain right now. They have great revenue growth up and to the right. That's exactly what you want to see. Hopefully they can integrate AI within their systems. A lot of people are scared to buy Adobe, you know, because it's been going straight down. Netflix has been going straight down. Warner Bros. Deal, short-term volatility, noise. Netflix, Warner Bros. Micron looks like a phenomenal stock right now. You know, they're just pumping money. If you own Micron, you are living lavish, my guy. PayPal's been getting crushed, dude. PayPal's about like $50 stock right now, just getting crushed. And then two AI stocks, Nebius and Iron. So those ones either deal with data centers or semiconductors. So that's pretty cool. They're gonna have demand in the future. Nebius's revenue growth is over 100%. So that is something to look into. Adobe's been getting crushed. A lot of people are buying into Adobe because they see the revenue growth and they just see the stock coming back up and making a recovery. And I totally understand. I totally get that too. They just have to get past this AI uncertainty within their company, and then they'll be fine. What else? We talked a little bit more about Tesla. Tesla will have the automotive $220 billion revenue by 2030. They'll have the robots, they'll have the energy. Just in energy, they'll be making $125 billion by 2030. So that's huge. 500 gigawatts deployed. Okay, what else? Okay, Microsoft and Apple. Microsoft did pretty well today. They're up, I want to say 2 to 3% today. So Microsoft had a great day. Apple, I'm not really sure. Apple's been doing nothing. They're not innovating. They're just buying back shares. They're not innovating. They're not taking chances on AI. They're just doing their slow boat thing, which good for them. Microsoft is doing a lot with AI. You know, they've done a lot in the past. They own LinkedIn. They own Minecraft. You know, they bought an AI startup. They own Office. They own Teams. You know, they have a huge market share. They dominate the market share, and their CEO is really smart too. I really like him. What else? Like I said, Tesla, you don't know what's going to happen in the short term. Volatility, Elon, Trump, you know, crashed the market on Tuesday, the day after MLK Day, with Greenland announcements. Day after, Wednesday, all green, right back up. Bear trap. So that is interesting to see. A lot of people could take advantage of that bear trap and buy the dip and then get back on that up trajectory. So that's really cool to witness. Yes, so I want to talk about my portfolio a little bit, and then we're going to wrap up the video here. I do have some Taiwan Semiconductor in my portfolio because that is a huge part of the semiconductor industry is TSMC, TSM. They just supply everyone with chips. They are, I don't know, they just have a very high part of the market share, which is great. And their stock has been doing phenomenal. Let's talk about ARM Robotics. I see potentially doing well. You know, they've kind of had a dip. They're on the rise again. New Amsterdam Pharma. I have been liking that one a lot. Healthcare, I'm not really into. I don't really know that much about healthcare or big pharma, but there's always profits to be made in big pharma. These are great companies. They're very profitable, so they're gonna get the job done. And lastly, yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up today, guys. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you. You know, this was kind of an upbeat video. I'm rambling. I'm talking fast. I want to get my points across. So thank you guys for joining me. Leave comments down below, suggestions, criticism. I'm open to hear anything. Thank you all for the support. I really appreciate it. All the comments. That was awesome. And yeah, thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday.